Here's your list of charges. You hacked into the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Department of Defence and NASA, amongst other things. Why?
I was in search of suppressed technology, you know, laughingly referred to as UFO technology. I think it's the biggest kept secret in the world because of its comic value. But it's a very important thing. We've got old-age pensioners can't pay their fuel bills. We've got countries being invaded to get award oil contracts to the West. And meanwhile, secretive parts of the secret government are sitting on suppressed technology for free energy.
So how did you go about trying to find the stuff that you were looking for in NASA, in the Department of Defence?
Well, I assumed that although it's part of a secret government project, there must be military ties. I'd read 400 expert witness testimonies, ranging from civilian air traffic controllers through military radar operators, all the way up to guys that were in charge of whether or not to launch nuclear missiles. So some very credible people. All of these people had said that there are UFOs, they are alien. We're using anti-gravity and reverse engineered technology that came from captured UFO craft.
We're using anti-gravity?
Yeah.
Right now? Who's using anti-gravity?
Secret compartmented parts of the government. And I think we're being trickle-fed by the various defence contractors, so that I predict within the next 7 years we will have anti-gravity as a publicly usable phenomena.
Okay, so how did you go about hacking into the computers to find what you were looking for?
Well, unlike the press would have you believe, it wasn't very clever. I searched for blank passwords. I wrote a tiny Perl script, the Perl language, that tied together other people's programs that searched for blank passwords, so you could scan 65,000 machines in just over 8 minutes.
So you went and actually accessed 65,000 machines sitting on, I guess, 65,000 desks in different buildings?
No, because all 65,000 aren't necessarily live yet. You might find typically 5,000 might be live, and out of that 500 might be Windows machines, then 50 might have blank administrator passwords, which is a pretty bad ratio for the world's largest military.
So you're saying that you found computers which had a high-ranking status, administrator status,
yep,
which hadn't had their passwords set, they were still set to default?
Yeah, precisely. And in some cases it was thousands of machines, because they had an image, rather than install Windows off a CD in every machine, you blast it onto an image, stick the image in all the machines, and every single machine has a blank local administrator password. So.
And you actually eventually took control of one particular machine on a desk somewhere in NASA, is that right?
Well, I mean, I had control of every machine that had a blank administrator password, because the door was open. So.
And what did you use that to do?
I was searching for files and evidence in relation to the UFO question.
Okay. Were you the only hacker to make it in, past the slightly lower than expected lines of defence?
Yeah, exactly. There were no lines of defence. There was a permanent tendency of foreign hackers. You could run a command when you're on the machine that showed connections from all over the world, check the IP address to see if it was another military base or whatever, and it wasn't. The General Accounting Office in America has again published another damning report saying that federal security is very, very poor.
So let's get this straight. While you were on a machine inside one of these computers in the Department of Defence, say, there were other hackers logged onto that machine as well,
yeah,
from around the world?
Yeah, you run your NetStack command and you see the list, Turkey, Germany, Holland, everywhere.
Are they all being prosecuted?
No, because they weren't caught, I'm assuming. I mean, they could have turned out later on to be someone else that's been caught, but not as far as I know. I think that probably, because the security was so poor, it's probably foreign governments.
How many times did you go back into this computer within NASA and the Department of Defence? Was it a one-time only?
No, I mean, most computers, because I maintained a quiet presence and I wasn't running around causing abundant damage, as is claimed. I was back on most computers for as long as it took for me to find out if there was any information on there which would be useful to my research.
So how many times do you think you went? Over what kind of period were you hacking into these computers? Was it a one-time only? Was it for the course of a week?
A couple of years.
And you went unnoticed for a couple of years?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What if I was, say, a NASA employee and I was walking past the computer that you were connected to, what would I have seen on the screen? Would there be any clues to anyone that was there?
Absolutely.
That you were there?
Yeah, I was using something a bit like PC Anywhere, called Remotely Anywhere, so I could actually see the desktop of the machine I had control of. And if you were walking past there, you would see the mouse move and me, doing whatever I was doing on that desktop.
Why weren't you spotted then?
I was eventually, and it was at NASA that I was spotted. I even saw the chap's or woman's mouse cursor come down, right-click the local area network icon, and choose disconnect, and that was me.
So someone basically took the mouse off you, if you like, and
in a way,
cut the
yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
Why did it take 2 years before they caught you? Do you think there was no one there at the computer, or did they...
yeah, because I used to be careful about the hours.
So you would log on in the middle of the night, say?
Yeah, so always be juggling like different time zones and stuff. And yeah, so you're doing it at night time, so hopefully there's not many people around. But there was one occasion where a network engineer saw me and actually questioned me, and we actually talked to each other via WordPad, which was quite strange. That was very, very strange.
What did he say? What did you say?
Well, he said, "What are you doing?" Which is a bit, shocking. I told him I was from military computer security, which he fully believed. And we had a little chat, and he tried to impress me with his virus knowledge and going into the DOS box, the console and stuff. And that was quite strange, talking to someone who's in charge of the place where you shouldn't be, and then not realising that you shouldn't have been there.
And I guess that scared you enough to stop you doing it?
No.
Why?
Because I felt like this free energy technology that I was after should be publicly available. I wasn't doing any damage. I was snooping around. I wasn't making their security poorer because the administrative password was already blank, so the door was already open. The only thing I was doing was installing my remote control program, which is commercially off-the-shelf available software, so it shouldn't be a problem either.
Did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
There's a group called the Disclosure Project. They published a book which had 400 expert witnesses ranging from civilian air traffic controllers through military radar operators right up to the chaps that are responsible as to whether or not to launch nuclear missiles. So some very credible, very relied upon people, all saying that yes, there's UFO technology, there's anti-gravity, there's free energy, and it is extraterrestrial in origin, and we've captured spacecraft and reverse engineered it. And these are, very solid, reliable chaps in charge of launching nuclear missiles. So,
what did you find inside NASA?
One of these people was a NASA photographic expert, and she said that in Building 8 of Johnson Space Center, they regularly airbrushed out images of UFOs from the high-res satellite imagery. And using the same blank password hunting technique, I got down to Building 8, got a few blank passwording machines there, and what she said was there. There was folders called filtered and unfiltered, or processed and raw, or something like that. I got one picture out of the folder, bearing in mind this is a 56K dial-up.
So a very slow internet connection.
Oh, crikey, yeah, dial-up days. A 235 megabyte picture, and if you're talking 5 minutes a megabyte, obviously impossible to download. Also in a NASA proprietary image format, not a GIF or a JPEG or anything. So using the remote control program, I turned the colour down to 4-bit colour, the screen resolution really, really low, and even then this picture was still, juddering and coming onto the screen. But what came onto the screen was amazing. It was a culmination of all my efforts. It was a picture of something that definitely wasn't man-made. It was above the Earth's hemisphere. It was kind of looked like a satellite. It was cigar-shaped. It had geodesic domes above, below, to the left, to the right, and both ends of. And although it was a low-resolution picture, it was very close up. This thing was hanging in space. The Earth's hemisphere was visible below it. And no rivets, no seams, none of the stuff associated with normal man-made manufacturing.
Is it possible this is an artist's impression?